I'm excited for today. This is one part that I feel like if you don't have me in the book like can get hard. And I really want it to, it's so impactful that I want to make sure we're doing it right and getting the full benefit out of it. So in dreaming this week, what came up or what did you think? Was it fun? Did it feel hard? What was any feedback?
It was kind of hard because, when life tries to get you down, it is hard to sit there and, write down all of the things that you have to be grateful for, but then it does the opposite. And then you realize really what you do have to be grateful for. It's very, very eye-opening, I guess,
Yeah. Gratitude does something amazing for us, doesn't it? It really, gratitude is so powerful. I love that. And Janie, I think you are in just such a good time in your life to be doing this. And you really get to determine how your life goes from here on out, right? And you can dream as big as you want and you can accomplish anything. Do you care if I tell them where?
No, go ahead. You can.
Janie's going through a divorce right now, and she has been holding it together like a champ for her little family. And she's at a big pivot point right now where she can make whatever decisions for her little family. And, you can make whatever big dreams you want happen. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy, when you never think that you'll be here in this situation. But it's neat to be able to say, wow, I thought my life was going this one direction and now it's going this completely other direction that I never thought. And yeah, it's like you were telling me, it's I'm in the creation part of my life kind of right now, and I get to create a new life for me and my kids. And while it's a little daunting, to think about at times, though, I like seeing the positive side of it too. So
yeah, you guys are going to have so much joy moving forward. It's going to be really great. I just feel it in my bones. Did anybody else have any thoughts about this week? Anything that you dreamt about that was big and exciting? Danielle, Kirsten. Yes, share.
Okay, if I might be open a little bit. I am in the middle of living a dream.
Yes, you
that
are.
I didn't think was possible. Okay, so one of my top attribute is sensitive. I have a very high level of empathy. And until I met with Melissa a couple of years ago, I considered it a flaw because I would get so connected that it would drain me. And I'd yearn to help other people, but I just did not have the tools or the understanding to know how to use that and how to protect it. And so after learning about my attributes and learning what makes me unique in a way that's like special, something to protect as well as like get to know and develop, I came out of my shell a little more and said, maybe I want to coach others with empathy too. And it was like super sheepishly, but as I started to live into that and dream it and why not try it out and see what happens? What's the worst that could happen? I just signed my last client to fill up my 101 slots. And I have a course that I am working through a beta test group with starting last Saturday. And it's been scary. It's been 5 months to get to this point. That's not long at all. And it's been
years. getting to this
True. But like once I admitted it and like put the effort and work into it and like focused in my dreams and continually
Step out of
pouring
your
into the
comfort zone.
belief of it's possible and do whatever you want to, like what is authentic and genuine to what makes you you, you know, it just
Yeah.
opened my eyes to the importance of dreaming and the importance of believing in the dream and not just worrying about like is it a selfish dream or what if I fail or whatever, but also recognizing that my dreams are actually implanted in me from the Lord. They're connected to my attributes, and he wants those dreams for me just as much as I do, and he knows how to get me there. And I just need to believe and trust in him and trust in myself and continually be willing to take that uncomfortable action. So I'm embracing uncomfortable over and over again. It is not fun. It is definitely uncomfortable, but it has helped me learn how to live in my dreams, and it's like amazing.
Yay. I love it. And Kirsten and I talk frequently, and she has so many cool insights into her sensitivity and how it works for her and how she can bless the lives of others. And that's why I don't want you to take chapter 1 and be done with it, because chapter 1 is a lifelong process now. These attributes that you've been given, the more you learn how to work with them and learn how they show up in your life and learn how you can bless others with them, it will bring you so much joy and happiness as you further learn about and live those attributes, for sure. Does anybody else have any dreams they want to talk about? Danielle, I feel like you're just such a good dreamer. What did you dream about?
See if I can unmute myself here. So you guys can't really see me. I'm in my office today, so I'm like super dark, but I do have a lot of dreams. And it's funny because one of my attributes is optimist and creative thinker. And so I tend to go on these like thought journeys with myself of like, oh, I could do this and I want to do this and I want to, you know what I mean? Sorry, now you're on my lap and I'm trying to balance you. And it's hard because I think I've mentioned before, my husband's like the complete opposite of me. He's very much like status quo. Let's just hang out at home. Let's just stay home. Let's be like just happy together in our house, right? And I'm like a goer, like, let's go do this and think of how amazing life would be if we did this vacation and then this and then that, like, and it extends to like vacations. It extends to I just recently jumped into like the real estate thing. I've been doing rentals and stuff, which I've discovered is like my new passion. And I just love it. And a lot of times my thoughts and goals and dreams will get away with me and they'll be like way out here, but I feel like they're so attainable because of, I think, the optimist side of me, and the creative thinker is another one of my attributes. And so I tend to be able to like, well, if we did it this way or whatever, anyway. So, but my husband has a hard time seeing the vision sometimes. And so it's really fun for me, but it's probably good that I'm with him because he helps bring me from like way up here, like, let's take it down a notch. Let's come like here, be a little more conservative. Let's be a little more even-headed. Let's, so I think we balance each other out really well. But yeah, he says to me all the time, you stretch me. And sometimes he says that in a good, loving way. And sometimes he says that in not such a loving way. But I've realized that it's really fun for me to dream about stuff and to think about things. Even if I don't think that I'll even do them within the next 10 or 20 years, it's fun for me to have that future goal in mind. I don't know. Like maybe in 20 years, we'll do this vacation or this vacation. I don't know, but there's always something on the horizon. There's always something in the queue for me. So
it's what keeps you happy, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. Krista, do you want to share anything from this week? 1 second. Okay.
Sorry, my toddler's like slamming my keyboard. So if you hear screaming, that's what that is. So I kind of wanted to piggyback off that just a little bit, in the fact that like sometimes like not sometimes, but like, as I was writing down like all of these dreams and stuff, like I just kept thinking like, what is like, I am like holding myself back on some of these things, if that makes any sense. Like I look at that and I say, yeah, someday, but like what's stopping me from, I don't know, doing even like the little ones now. Like I was like thinking about that over the weekend. Like, I'm like, what is stopping me? Like I'm my own worst enemy in so many different ways that I'm like, yeah, in the future, like, yeah, maybe I can do that dream, or this dream might, you know, be better in 10 years or more attainable, and maybe even next year, you know. And just thinking about that, and I'm like, why do I hold myself back? Like, why, you know, like, why do I do that? And I think just sometimes like looking at the goals, like it's just hard to take that first step and to be like, no, like I'm capable of doing this, like I can do these things. But it's just that realization of like getting out of my own way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I think taking the first step is usually the hardest one, right? And I think you have little kids too, and it's hard to like think of these big dreams and then think, well, I have to take care of my kids. And so sometimes I think like for me, I've been taking baby steps. You know, I can do this while they're at preschool, or I can do this when I have this time. And taking baby steps on my dreams still keeps me feeling fulfilled and in that creation state and not stagnant, which is what we don't want to be, right? Sometimes I know for me, I felt like I had so many dreams and so many things that I wanted to do that I was scattered. And I was doing a little bit of everything and nothing super great. And so what today's ambition evaluation, what we're going to do is we're going to write them all down, and then we're going to figure out what things are the most important to you and really get you focused on what you want to work on right now. And then after we do the ambition evaluation, Krista, this is where you really start like, okay, these are the things that matter the most to me. How am I going to get started? Do I need to Google how to ride an electric bike? You know, you're going to start writing those plans of what do I have to do to get going on what I like. And so we're going to get those things in motion. But I want you to think today about, I don't know, I didn't tell you guys where to stop. So hopefully you stopped at the day 5. Is that where you guys stopped? Was day 5? Okay. Because what we're going to talk about today is what you're going to write down on your ambition evaluation, and then how do you take the ambition evaluation, because these are super important things. So what you're going to do, first of all, is what you're going to write down on page 28 is the ambition evaluation. And you may want to turn the page and write number 1 where number 3 is, because it's going to be easier. I mean, if you run out of space, you can do the other ones, but it's going to be easier to have them all on one page. When I have done this in the past, flipping back over the page kind of gets annoying to me, because you're going to be going through these like in depth. So I would start with number 3 as number 1. And if it bugs you, you can change them. But if you write them on this page that's flat, it will, I think you'll enjoy it better. And I want you to write, so it says, when my life is perfect, I am. And I want you to think of at least 11 things, at least 11. And sometimes we think there's this money thing that comes into play here. And sometimes we think if I had $1 million, my life would be perfect. Or if I had 50,000 saved in this account, or if I had, so money can come into play, right? I want you to think about not the money, but what the money will do for you or what it will give you. So rather than writing down, if I had $1 million, I would be happy, write what the $1 million would do. I want to be able to travel the world with my kids and not worry about my job. So write that, if that's what the $1 million gives you, or I have peace of mind to, my bills pay themselves, and I have whatever it is going to give you, or I have money to go help people in Haiti build homes. You know, whatever that money is going to give you, I want you to write that down, unless you, every time you get money coming in, it's like lights you up and brings you joy, then you can write money down. But unless the money is the end goal for you, if the end goal is something else, something bigger, I want you to write the end goal. Okay, does that make sense? Because a lot of us, the getting of money doesn't really bring us the joy. It's what we can do with the money that will bring us joy. So I want you to think about your relationships. Like, what relationships are important to you? When those relationships, for instance, like with my girls, if I was going to write something down about my girls, I would write, we have mutual respect and enjoy being together. That was one of the things I wrote down, because I didn't want to just write, my girls are important to me, or when my life is perfect, my girls do everything I say. That's probably not realistic, but that would be perfect. No, it wouldn't, because I want them to think and feel on their own, right? So when my life is perfect, my relationship with my girls feels easy and we enjoy being together, something like that. Or another one could be like your spirituality. Is there a spiritual goal you would like to obtain? Is it you want 150 rentals? Is it, what is it that really speaks to your heart? And I want you to write those things down. Okay. And if it's, I want a beach house in Maui, then write a beach house in Maui, and write like as much detail as you can about it, so that when you get it, that's the other thing. When you write these down, you want it to be measurable so that when you've obtained it, right? Because sometimes we can say, I want a beach house in Maui, and then you get a beach apartment in Maui, and you're like, well, I didn't get the beach house, or I want to help women who have empathy. How many women with empathy do you want to help? Or what do you want to see when they're done with the course? What do you want them to have achieved? So write down things that are measurable, so that when you are there and when you write off, okay, I hit 20 women, I have accomplished my goal, and you can see that you're working towards it, or you can see when you've accomplished it. So I want it to be measurable as well. And I want you to think about your environment in which you live, spirituality, accomplishments. Are there things that you want to accomplish in your life? Things that bring you pleasure, things that bring you help. Do you want to worry like something about your body? If that's important to you, you want to be able to run a marathon. What is it that you want to do? Something that in turn will help you feel fulfilled. So does anybody have any things that they have written down, or that they would like to write down, something that comes to your mind? Okay, so what I want you to do is write all of those down and try. If you could get 15, that would put all of the lines on the page filled if you did the flat spread. And I think that if you did 15, that would be awesome. And now I want to tell you how you're going to go through that evaluation. So I'm going to think of 3 things really quick. I have some right here. Okay, so I am speaking and teaching women about their divinity. I think I would even go a little bit further to say I am speaking once a month about their divinity. I am strong and confident in who I am and where I stand. And number 5 is I want to race a car. Okay, so those are 3 that I have written down in my book. So how you're going to do this is you're going to take number 1 and number 2, and this might be another time when you really pray and ask Heavenly Father to help you to make these decisions, because they're not going to be easy, because they're all things you're going to want, right? And I don't want you to go in with preconceived ideas. That's why I didn't want to tell you this before you did it, but I want you to really pray about it and really trust what comes to your mind. I don't want you to judge yourself on your answers either. Sometimes we make our answers of what we should do in our lives with what we think people would want us to do. or what our spouse would want us to do, or what we think we should do. But I want you to really trust your heart. So I'm going to compare these two and I want to show you how it goes. I am speaking and teaching women about their divinity. I am strong and confident, or number 4, I am strong and confident in who I am and where I stand. Okay, which one of those is more important to me? Speaking and teaching or being strong and confident in who I am? For me, it would be I am strong and confident in who I am. So then I would go to the next one. I am strong and confident in who I am and where I stand, or I want to race a car. I'm going to stick with I am strong and confident in who I am. And then I would go down to, I'm just going to keep going down my list. So I am strong and confident in who I am and where I stand, or I'm having dance parties regularly because they bring me a lot of joy. So being strong and confident in who I am wins over dance parties. So then I'm going to go down. I am strong and confident in who I am and where I stand, or I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for myself and my family. Oh, that one's hard. Do I want to be strong and confident in who I am and where I stand? Or do I want to be aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for myself and my family? I want to be aligned with heaven. So then I would leave that number and go down to number 7. And then I'll take number 7 and say, I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for myself and my family, or I am skinny. That's my next one. I would rather be receiving clear messages from heaven than be skinny. So then I'm going to go to my next one. I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for myself and my family, or our farmhouse is so cute and we love our animals. I'm going to stick with aligned with heaven. So then I say, okay, so now I'm going to take number 7 and go with number 10. I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for myself and my family, or I am a medicine woman and growing all sorts of remedies on our farm. Okay, aligned with heaven wins. So then I'll go back up and I'll say, okay, I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for myself and my family, or I am speaking and teaching women about their divinity once a month. I want to be receiving clear messages from heaven. I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages for my family, or I am strong and confident in who I am and where I stand. I am aligned with heaven. So that's how you're going to find number 1. You're going to take each and every one of these and you're going to compare them. And then even when you have already compared that with another one, you're just going to make sure you go all the way back through that list. So number 7, I'm going to go all the way down, all the way back through 1 and 2, all the way back through, and make sure that you're asking yourself, is this the most important thing on this list? And even if you think in your heart, yes, it is, still ask yourself, still read it out. I am aligned with heaven and receiving clear messages, and then read every single one, because you're telling your heart and your mind, this is more important than racing a car. This is more important than me being skinny. This is more important. And you're telling yourself 18, 15, 17 times that this is your most important thing. And that's when you know you have your number 1. Okay. And you're going to go through that. You saw how it kind of takes a while. You're going to go through that. And I hope that yours will be, these ones I just wrote out, because you can do this 3 times a year. You can do this regularly. When you've accomplished something, you can do it again. Or if you feel like you want to do it for your children, like what is the most important thing for me to focus on with my children? You can do one of these just for your kids. So I want this one to be very measurable and very clear for you so that you know what your top 5 are. Okay, so then when you have your top 5, you're going to go to the next page, and it has on part 3, decide what's most important. You're going to write under number 1 ambition on that cute pink line on page 31, you're going to write what it was that was your number 1. And you can simplify it if you want to, because like I want you to get very clear on what it is, but you can just nickname it like a beach house in Maui, rather than I want a beach house with a garden and this beautiful entryway, and so simplify it. And then I want you to go through and answer the questions. How are you integrating this into your life now? What is your first plan of action towards fulfilling this ambition? So we're going to dive really deep into them afterwards. And it can be okay to say, oh, I'm not integrating this at all. Because if we didn't know what we wanted, we weren't working to get it, right? So now we're going to figure out what it is we want, and we're going to figure out how we want to get it. And these questions that we're going to go into really help you to start seeing how you can integrate them into your life. Our priorities, a lot of times we say what our priorities are, but what we're really giving priority is what we spend our time on, right? And so this will help us to see, am I spending my time where I truly want it, where I feel like it's going to bring me more joy, where I'm going to feel more fulfilled, where I'm going to be aligned with this purpose that Heavenly Father has sent me to this earth. Am I using my gifts and talents in a way that is going to bring me eternal happiness, really, right? Because that's what we're going for. So something came up for me this week. My number one in my top 5 is being aligned with Heavenly Father and really learning about his teachings and feeling like I have placed him in my heart and mind as number 1. And I was talking to my husband. I got to teach Relief Society, which I absolutely love teaching about the gospel. So I was just like so excited when I came home from Relief Society and talking about it. And he said to me, you have a different energy about you when you're at church, and you have a different energy about you when you're learning about the gospel. And when he pointed that out, I thought about, like, when I leave the temple, I like skip down the stairs because I am just like so filled and feel so happy. And when I'm at church, I just am like, let's do this, let's read it. And I want to start shouting amen from the back of the hall. You know, I love learning about that. And I was thinking about that and how when I'm on this call, I feel so much joy and so much happiness teaching women about how awesome they are. And I got thinking, like, I need to do this more because that joy is what I need to be feeling. And sometimes I'm not feeling that in my life, you know? And what are some other ways that I can implement those good, happy, exciting feelings through different areas of my life? And that is the whole goal here, is when things feel heavy, when life gets hard, what are the things we're going to focus on that are going to bring us that joy, that are going to bring us that light and goodness into our homes and into our hearts? And that's hopefully what you will get out of this week's learning, is what are the ways, the things that light you up, and yours are probably going to be way different than mine, but, well, they should be. But what are they, and how can you start saying yes to those things? The other really cool thing that you're going to get out of this, when you have your top 5, it helps you to be able to say no to things that are not on that list. When you start saying yes to your top 5 priorities and the things that bring you joy, you will start to accomplish. You can have everything on that list if you start saying yes to it. You can have all the things that are really important to you, but when we say yes to something that doesn't align with that list, then that is when we start to feel pulled away from our divine purpose. And that, I had one of my clients share with me afterwards. She got invited to a bachelorette party, and she also got invited to a guy who has a homestead was going to teach her how to set up a homestead. And one of her big top 5 things was she wants to live solely on the land and have, I think it's like 5 acres. She wants to have a little place for her dad to live on there. And she wants to set it up so that she can be off the grid. And so when she was faced with these 2 different decisions, do I go to my friend's bachelorette party for the weekend, or do I go learn about how to build an off-grid home? She said, for the first time, it felt clear to her which decision she should make. And she knew that she should go and learn about how to build this property that she's been dreaming about. And so she said no to the bachelorette party. And she said, I've known these people my whole life, and they were furious. She said they were yelling at her, and how could she not go to the party? But in her heart, she knew she had chose what was right for her. And so it was easy for her to say no to things that don't align and that aren't going to bring her closer to what she really wants. And so hopefully that this week will help you to feel powerful in who you are and what you want, and be able to give the easy yes to what it is you want and what your priorities are, you know? So that's where we are for this week. Does anybody have any questions? Did I clarify anything? I don't know if you've read through it before, but hopefully that was clarifying, that you understand how to do it. Any questions or thoughts that you guys have? And if reading them to yourselves is hard and you're like not able to answer it, then call me and I'll read through them with you and we can do it together. Or you can have somebody else read them to you as well. But really this is such an important step. And I think when you're done and you have your top 5 and you can look at them, you'll feel so relieved on just knowing you know what's best for you right now, and knowing you can always go back and change it, but having a focus of 5 things, because we can't do all the things, right? Because I mean, there's 15 things on this list, but if we focus on 15 things, we're going to be scattered. So focusing on 5 is really good. And you'll see how those 5 things really can play into so many areas of your life. So I'm excited to hear how it goes. If you have any questions this week, this is a big step. So call me or message me if you have any questions. And I'm excited to see how it works out and what you guys come up with. And to hear if it's what you thought, because it is kind of funny when you go through, like when I wrote I am skinny, I was like, oh geez, no, that doesn't matter. People will love me fluffy or not. So anyway, any other questions or thoughts before we go? Okay, well, I'm excited. Have a great week. Really message me if you have any thoughts or questions, and I would love to answer them for you. Okay, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.